Have you ever thought about what you're going to do after you retire? Yes, man. When them start sending you the letter 1 year before to notify you that listen next year X time is it time to go through the gate, right? It's your time to pack up and leave the workplace. Have you ever thought about what you're gonna do? Mm. Where you want to live? Where will you be living? Have you given it some thought? Maybe you want to go to Italy to live, if not even for 8 months, right? Um, Thailand, or the beautiful Caribbean, Jamaica. Let's discuss retirement. Hey everyone, welcome to Midlife Green Glow. I'm Anne-Marie. Here we explore eco-friendly living, natural beauty tips, and practical ways to strive in midlife together. If that interests you, please subscribe and let's get started. So, welcome back, everyone. Good to have you back, and thanks again for all the support that you have been showing me. Thank you very much to my subscribers. Now, today I want to discuss a very touchy topic. Yeah, man. Let us talk about retirement, because you know the mistake that many persons make will wait too late to plan for retirement. And so for those of us who are in formal employment, you know that yes, the employee draw out some money, yeah man, them take some money out of his salary for retirement. And so like us in the Caribbean, we have you have your pension fund, and then you have your national insurance scheme. That's what you're entitled to when you reach 65 years old. However, some persons retire at 60, so they have to wait until another 5 years before they come into that. But unfortunately, sometimes we just a go along, we just a go on about business. And I don't know if it is fear or what, but we push retirement planning to the back of our mind, because some persons, you know, them say, well, I have a pension when at the time when I'm ready to retire. But let me tell you something. That might be a surprise waiting to happen. Question one: do you know your monthly retirement budget? If I ask you if you know how much it takes you to live monthly, and I just say monthly because that's how some persons get paid. That's how I'm paid monthly. So usually what you do, or what I do, you sit and you draft up your budget, whether you're paying rent, whether you're paying mortgage. uh, for some persons them pay none. I always say those are the lucky ones, you know. Sure, I grudge, you know, you see. If I neither pay rent nor mortgage, trust me, enough savings that, you know. And the ones who are lucky enough for that be their reality, you are blessed. Trust me, you are blessed. As long as your circumstances make you happy, you are blessed. So you draft up your budget, how much it costs you to travel for the period, your utility bills, your insurance, any other money you owe, whether loan, food. And I can tell you, food cost is going up. Food cost is competing with your rent and mortgage nowadays, whether you want to believe it or not. Food, oh my God. Even when it's you alone live, sometimes it is hard to really feed yourself to the standard that you want to feed yourself at, because food is expensive. I don't know about anywhere else, but food is very expensive in Jamaica, and it is becoming somewhat of a concern. And so all the bills that you have to cover within a month, or maybe if you are paid fortnightly. Yes, so that's your budget, right? And so when you retire, you see, I want somebody take me and show me which country you can go and live and don't pay any bills. You're not paying nothing because you're a retiree. So you don't pay for light, you don't pay no utility bills, no utility bills. You don't pay for food, you don't pay for health, no insurance, nothing at all, because guess what? You reach retirement age. I want somebody to tell me where that country is. I want to know, right? So when you retire, you still have bills to pay. Your bills will not retire with you. You understand? So your mortgage might be finished, right? Praise God for that. But then you still have to keep up the house, you know. Yeah, man, you still have to spray the place. Do your pesticide control, your pesticide treatment. You have a whole lot of, you still have to paint the house. If a pipe bursts, you have to fix it. You know, those bills will not go away. The only time those bills stop is when you're dead. You understand? When the last breath leave your body, that's when those bills stop, and you are indeed free. You're free. Free like the bird in the sky. That's why I must make sure that we serve God and go heaven, you know. For those who are Christians, though, I don't want to chastise me for that. And so you have to look, what is it that is what your retirement budget would or is going to look like. You know, yes, you might not travel as you used to because you're not getting up every day and you're not going to work and stuff like that. But you really have to kind of do a budget and look and say, which bills I'll still be paying when I retire. You understand? You don't plan for catch and nobody yard because old people can't take hardship. You can't bear no hungry. If you're sick, you need to go to the doctor. So you need money for that as well. So you have to ensure that when you retire, you have a decent health plan, because that is the time the body start aging and start going down. So the health plan have to be solid, or you have to have money to finance your health crisis if them come and when them come. You understand? So even though you might be far from retirement now, it's midlife, you're in your 40s or your 50s, so it's still going strong. And so it is a reality check, you know, that you have to really look at and say, well, I will retire in 10 years, 7 years, you know, 15 years. If it costs me X now to feed myself, or my utility bill is X, you start to chart that up by some percentage. So you have an idea of which bills will stay with you and what it really looks like. Another thing, number 2, you have to look at is some of us come from some long living generation, and trust me, it kind of give you a heads up when you see your aunt, your uncle, your mother, you know, your parents, and so are long liver. In my family, we have some serious long living taking place, right? And so that, at least from my mom's side, they are long livers. You know, mark your food. Oh my God, food is not like first time. Nowadays, you don't even know what you are eating. You know, you're not getting the best. You know, that's why it's good to grow what you eat. But then I'm not going over that direction. But those long time people were really strong. And so we don't know how long we're going to live after retirement. So you retire at 65. And I've seen people live even 20 years after that, 15 years after that. So that's another thing that you have to factor in. Would you have enough coins if you live that long? Not everybody pension after a few years, you get a little more. I think now in Jamaica, them trying to increase the NIS, but for some, a lot of the pension plan, if you when you retire, your pension is X, or let me say $10, and you live for the next 30 years, that pension is still $10. And trust me, depreciation, depreciation is something else, because inflation is going to let that money just depreciate. So your $10 that you retire on now, that could pay all your bills, and you could have a little savings. And so if you live another 15-20 years, no, it can't do anything at all. So these are some serious questions that you need to ask yourself, and that we have to sit down and think about during our midlife. Number 3, though, all is not lost. We have the opportunity to build income outside of what we earn. And so the question is, do you have a passive income or a business? Something that you generate some income from. And it would be best for you, whatsoever that is, once you hit your midlife, it's time for you to sit and think about that carefully, because whatsoever that is, whatsoever skill, because a lot of us don't come here with only one skill. We have a lot of things that we can do, whether we're good with ear, we can bake, we are public speakers, anything that you can do. You're a content creator, you can paint, anything that you can do. You're a writer, you're good with exercise, and then don't be afraid to go back and just get some little training on all of those skills. Think about what's your skill set, what is it that you can do that you can turn into a business. Mark, you don't want it to affect your daily, for those who have 9-to-5 jobs or so, or you don't want it to affect your performance at work, because we're going to be fair. No, yes, you're looking out for your best interest, but you also want to be fair. You want to give a good, put in some good work at work, and be fair and be good at it. But look at what your skill set, what is it that you can do. We have to ask ourselves that question, and then we have to get going. Don't just sit down and ask ourselves that question, but we need to get going. So we are going to start something from now, before retirement. Don't wait until 5 years before retirement. And even if you just come up on the idea and you have 5 more years to retire, or even 1 or 2 more years to retirement, still go ahead, jump at it, and put the package together and start something. So therefore, you don't have to retire and depend on only your pension. I remember I spoke about inflation, and inflation will eat that up, and we don't know how long we are going to live. We don't know how much years we are blessed with. We don't know. And so we don't want to be suffering in our old days. So we start something, start a striving business. We all have different personality, different capabilities. So some of us may want something online, some of us digital, some of us may want something physical. You open a shop, a supermarket, you start doing your hairdressing, whatever. and then you use up the profit. And there might be things that you need right away, so you may not be able to save the profit within the first year or two, but I mean after that you put down that money, you know, on instrument or whatever, but you save that money for a rainy day. I know it's negative to say about rainy day because we shouldn't be looking for any rainy day, but in the Caribbean or in Jamaica, you know, old time people talk about the rainy day. You must be prepared for the rainy day. And what that actually means is that a day of crisis. When something happens, you are able to deal with it adequately because you have the resources that can really help. And so, yes, man, think about your income, what you can do from now before you retire. Once you hit midlife, you know, that should be foremost in your thought, because none of us are going to retire as Papa. No, we don't want to be begging the government anything or begging our children. We don't want to be begging our children anything. I remember that your child or children can pass before you, especially if you have a very long life. And children are not a pension. Okay, so we want to have something adequately. If we call them and beg them to come fill some water or buy some water for us, we must be in a position where we have the money to pay. We just need them help because, you know, water bottle them heavy. So that's all we want from them. You know, you may ask them to assist you to go to the doctor or something like that, or even if you kill a lizard or something. Like me who's afraid of lizard, oh my God, that's something else. So little things, you may call on their help, you know, and of course, it's not that you begging them, they have to dig in their pocket for any money to put towards whatsoever assistance they give to you. Because like people like me, you know, I must always have my monitor called pest control to do my pest control treatment every 5 years, inside and outside, because I don't want to see any lizard, especially the croton lizard. And in the Caribbean, I'm if you tell you now. And number 4, do you know how much your retirement will be, your payout will be? And so many times persons sit down and they are comfortable with the fact that, oh, you see, when me retire, me get my pension, so me not worry about that. And then when they call them into HR now to discuss retirement, and they said to you, which one of the package you're going to choose, if that's how it works in your area or your country where you reside, and then you hear, oh, your lump sum is X amount, and if you take this lump sum, you take the lump sum, your monthly payment will be X amount, and if you don't take the lump sum, your monthly payment will be X amount. And then that time you sit down, may I tell you, if you wear false teeth, when you hear how much money after working for so many years you'll be getting monthly, if you're wearing false teeth, it fall right out of your mouth. Yeah, if you're not careful, you get a stroke. Same place in I chair, I talk to the HR person, because the truth is your pension will never be the same as your salary. You know, will never be the same as your monthly salary. And not many people are so lucky that, I don't know how it is calculated in countries where you live, but where I live, it seldom happens that way. Because I know of persons who, you know, they used to get like 700 and something or 500 and something or so monthly. These are persons in senior position. And now when they calculate their pension, they'll be getting like 220,000, 250,000 monthly. Now that is a far cry from the 500 and 600 and 700 that they used to earn monthly. And if you are not humble or you don't understand money, you can go in a depression. Yes, so My advice is just throw pension at the back of your mind, throw the little pension that them will spit and give you when you retire at the back of your mind, and try and just see which area your skill sets are in, and how much money you can earn to put down, so when you retire you don't suffer. Another thing is you can speak to your HR person, or even the company that does your pension plan, to get an idea of how much your pension will be. So if you have like 10 more years to retire or so, you can even 5 more years, or 7 more years or so. They're not going to run you. You call them up and you say, listen, I will be retiring X amount of years. This is what I pay. And so how much, I know you can't calculate it just now based on how pension is calculated, but kind of give me an idea, about how much my pension is a possible my pension will be. Because you want to know, kind of have a sense of your reality. Or if you know anybody that retire now, why you know that in the next 5 years or 10 years or next year or two or so, you are going to be retiring, you can ask that person if they feel to disclose to you. Some people are not that, they will tell you, so you can try and find out, get an idea, because you don't want to be overwhelmed when retirement struck and you find out that what you are going to be paid will not be sufficient. Another thing is that for some, depending on it depends on the pension plan that you have. For some persons, like in government in Jamaica, you have to wait a while before your pension really kicks in. I don't know, it's just slackness and mismanagement. Some persons may wait up to a year before they get their pension or more. So you have to ensure that you have money to pay your bills while you wait. Because boy, this waiting thing, and some stories I hear. So 2 things: try and find out how much your retirement will be. You need to know, or you need to have an idea. It is in your best interest to do so, because plan to have no stroke in an HR chair, right? In front of the HR person, I have no stroke when them tell you what the little tuppence will be, or what the small amount will be, and you realize that that will never ever cover your expenses. Sad story. So number 5 is how is your circle? Are you building circles for retirement? So sometimes we are very busy people, and we just go to work and come back, and we don't invest in friendship in our community, even in the workplace, because especially now with technology, and so the workplace has become so sterile, so just stiff, and the whole family bond is lessening in the workplace. And so there might be persons that you come to work and they call you and whatever, but usually why they call you is about work. Yeah, it's about work. You might be the boss and you don't come in for 3 days and whatever, and persons are calling you, Mrs. Such and Such or Mr. Such and Such. I don't see you, how are you, or whatever. They're calling you because them work same place and you are them boss, and they don't see you and they want to know if you're alive. But what happened when you retire? When you retire, do you or will you have all of that network of people calling you, or them just start calling you boss? So you don't want to retire and just stuck in your house alone. The phone don't really ring unless some of the little family members that you have. Yes, invest in a circle. Make sure, for those who go to church, you have a circle at church. You join your any group that is in within your age group, or so any ministry, whatever. You're not join just for that purpose, but it is in your best interest to do so. Um, you invest in the community that you live. I know some places you live overseas, yeah, nobody not really chat to nobody of such. Yeah, everybody just go about them business. Lord, I have seen it. And so this is why I love the Caribbean, because we're very talkative and friendly and fast as hell. And so it is easier to build community. And it depends on the area that you live in, because you have some core residential area here, where nobody not chat to nobody. You understand? People really don't speak to people. So you have an avenue and probably about 40 persons in total, 40 homes are on that stretch. And if you know who your neighbor is, you're lucky. Because everybody come, press them remote, drive them vehicle through, and that's it. And so that is even harder. If that is your reality, it means that you have to go work like harder to build your circle. So you try to volunteer, get yourself involved in groups. If you're religious, you go to church and you don't just go and come back home. You be a part of ministries and stuff like that. Make a good friendship at work. I don't care what nobody wants to say that you know have no friends or what kind of way if you go look friend or whatever. That is not totally true, because over the years, you know people by their fruit. So you know your co-workers, you know the ones that have like-mindedness, yeah, like you, and those who are genuinely good people. Those that you can build a bond with over the years, because that's a part of your circle, and especially if you're basically in the same age group. So they might retire before you, a few years before you, or you might before them, or maybe all of you going to retire around the same time. So you make sure, say, you have a group, you form even a WhatsApp group with those persons. When you go home, when you retire, you all can keep in touch, meet up for lunch and things like that. So whichever means you can come up with to build your circle, it is important that you do so before you retire. The last question is, what is your retirement goal? Ask yourself, what is your retirement goal? Is it that you want to live in the same house that you're living now? Because for some persons, they may have a lot of children, and so the home that they live in might be a 5-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, or whatever, and you say, boy, this place too big, because it's not only the bedroom it have, it have enough little room. You have your pool, your patio, your this room, your studio, your office, whatever. And it might be a big home, and especially for those who unfortunately their spouse might die, and so it's them alone, and you don't want to stay in this big home by yourself, even though it's your happy place and stuff. So you may want to sell and move somewhere smaller that you can maintain easily. So these are some of the things that you have to start thinking about, especially if you have like 5 years before retirement, and so you need to be thinking about those stuff. What in terms of your living, am I going to be same place? Am I going to be moving? And stuff like that. And or it could be that you decide, say, you're not in your country when you retire, right? You are not going to be living in the country you reside after retirement. You want to maybe live in Thailand. That's my dream. If it's even 5 months out of the year, you want to live somewhere else in another country, Switzerland, Thailand, Singapore, Italy, or the Caribbean, or Jamaica, you want to come here. You understand? You just want to go live somewhere else. So or elsewhere, you need to make sure that that is not just small talk, 'cause talk is cheap, but you are actually putting plans in place to facilitate your big dreams. Yes, some of us have some big dreams, and sometimes the dreams are practical. It is not reality. But you want to make sure that these dreams happen. You understand? Let anybody laugh. You don't have to tell anybody your dream, or even if you tell them the dream, then you don't have to tell them how you are planning for it. But you take time, and if, as I tell you about starting a business where you can be generating income before retirement, as you hit midlife, you think about that and you start to work on it and you take it off the ground. And if it not work, you move on to something else. But not give up no day in a way. You understand? We are not going to give up because we want what we want and we not stop. So put plan in place. Think about it. Do I want to live in this country when I retire? Where I want to live. How would I fund my living expense? How can I make it practical? And believe me, remember, people, if you have a big home, kids are all adults, move out, perhaps you have grandkids and stuff, and your spouse might pass, or yes, your spouse alive, but both of you are older now. And so you decide you're going to sell and you are going to go to in a smaller space. And before I even say what I was going to say, remember that if this is your goal, over the years, try and update your home so that when that retirement time comes, when you're going to put it up for sale, nobody can come ball down the price because it is updated. The kitchen is updated. You know, one re-roof, no tree no one chop down because it's a danger to the house. Nothing like that. House no one paint, basement no one do. You understand? No faulty electrical, nothing like that. It is in good shape. So over the years, you keep updating your home. If a door want to change, you may don't have the funds to change it right now, but you try and change it. If the windows want to change, you try and change it. And especially for those who might have a 10 years before retirement and stuff, you have designs that change. You may have a particular window in the house and that was outdated, so you update it. You move a window and you put in the good up updated window, so you keep your place well maintained. Lawn manicure if you have one, and all your systems are updated. You know, you're going solar, these different things, and also no need for paint or any drama like that. You have a proper decent house that you can put on the market and you can demand the going rate. Nobody can come and say, Lord, you have to take off $10 because I'm going to have to do the roof and the basement not finished, the place want paint and stuff like that. Nothing rocking out of place, and so you get full value. And if you have children, they will know that you sell the house, and know how much you actually get. They have an idea, they're not stupid. And so everybody go and try sometimes and draw a little closer. And then some of them may tell us, say, oh, come live with me and keep your money. Never you do that. You go and you buy a smaller place. And I always recommend like a 2-bedroom in case you have to go hire somebody to come stay in the house with you because you might be ill or something. You must have a spare bedroom for that person. But let me tell you something. You buy your smaller space and you hold on to what is left. Don't share up no money and give no children. And I'm not bitter, I'm a mother, but this is reality. Somebody did want a new car and whatever, what were they doing before you sell the house? Well, let them do the same thing. Do not take the money, because one, especially if you have more than one, once you give one, you're going to give everybody else. Don't take the balance of the money is not to share. even if your spouse die, because some children behave like, well, daddy die or mommy did die and you sell the house, them up, they are entitled to share in the house. No, no, you and your spouse or you alone work hard and you purchase your place. They don't know how it is, or it was bought. That place belongs to you. Husband drop out, a fear. Wife drop out, it is now yours. So when you sell and you move to a smaller place, you hold on to the balance of that money, because that's going to help to make you happy and make your dreams become a reality. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. And remember to like up the video, man. Like it up, share it with a friend, share it with a family member, and of course subscribe. Love you now.